LSU earns a statement win on the road, beating Dallas Baptist 7-3. We're recapping it. Locked on LSU. Let's go.
You are Locked On LSU, your daily podcast on the LSU Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Okay, let's get it. It is Locked On LSU, your team every day. I'm your host, Matt Moscona. Thanks so much for making us your first listen. We are free, available wherever you get podcasts, of course, on YouTube as well. So please subscribe. As always, one of the fastest ways to help us grow is by leaving your comments below. So thank you so much for that. We are live on YouTube. Big shout out to everybody watching or listening on demand. We appreciate you for being there. But if you're live with us, reminder, we'll be here after every LSU baseball game when possible. And plan to do this for as many of these as we can all throughout the year on the Locked On LSU YouTube channel. So if you're not there, please subscribe to the channel. Turn on notification, hit the bell so you're notified whenever we go live or post new videos so you can join us. And remember, the way we'll do this is I'll go through my post-game comments, and then we'll jump into your questions and comments to wrap up the show. So drop them in there. We appreciate that. LSU goes up to Arlington. They beat Dallas Baptist 7-3. This is a Dallas Baptist Patriots team that is picked to win Conference USA. A Dallas Baptist program that has made regionals 13 times since 2008. This is a very good program. This is a team ranked as high as 17th in the country coming into this ball game tonight. And you know why you go on a Wednesday night to Globe Life Field in Arlington to play Dallas Baptist? Because for the first time this season, LSU was challenged. Now, they never trailed. They won 7-3. And quite honestly, it should have been a whole lot worse, which we're going to get into because there are some things with this team when you go play a game like this that reveals things about your team and about yourself. But the reason you go play a game like this is because on a Wednesday night in Arlington, when it would have been perfectly understandable to stay home, play directional state U, and win a run rule game like you did on a Monday against Nichols, you go on the road, you play Dallas Baptist, a ranked team at a big league ballpark, and that had the feel. That game tonight had the feel of a Friday night SEC game. That game tonight had the feel, like the pit in your stomach, right? The nervous energy feel of a marble game in a regional. That game tonight had the feel of a Friday of a super regional. That's why you go play that game. Because if this team does what we all think they're going to do, they're going to play in a lot of those games. And you don't replicate that feeling in an inter-squad scrimmage. You don't replicate that feeling playing Southern or Purdue-Fort Wayne or Nichols on a Monday. Look, the scores are gaudy and the stats are fun, and watching the pitchers overpower bad hitters, it's fun. But you know what's more telling about your team is in the 8th inning, after Cooper Williams can't find the strike zone and walks the first 2 batters, you go get Kason Evans and he slams the door and then comes out in the 9th and strikes out the All-Conference USA player, their catcher, Jay, and goes 1-2-3 in the 9th. That is way more telling about this team. You know what's telling about this team in a game like this? When you take Derek Curiel, a freshman, you put him in the leadoff spot, and he goes 2 for 3 in the ball game and walks twice, gets on base 4 times and scores 3 runs. That's telling. When Chris Stanfield goes 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts, both strikeouts, by the way, with the bases loaded, that's telling. You learn about your team in games like this, which is why you go play games like this. It's why I will always, without exception, always endorse LSU leaving Alec Box Stadium in the pre-conference and playing games like this, going and doing what they're going to do this weekend in Frisco. And sometimes you lose those games. Look, 2023, Paul Skeens started a game against Iowa, and LSU lost. Tigers struck out, 15 times in that game? Remember the big lefty from Iowa threw 100? Remember that kid? God, I'm blanking on his name right now. Someone will tell me it. But sometimes you lose those games. But you'll learn more about your team than staying home for a 3-game set against Omaha when I can play a silly Peyton Manning Omaha drop, and that's the highlight of the weekend. So I love going and playing series like this. Thank you for being here with us. Please smash the like button. I see a bunch of people joining live. Please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Please drop your questions and comments. If you're new to the lives we do after the games, I'm going to go through my thoughts on the game, and then I'll get to yours. Let me do this. Let me spend this time in this segment talking about Conner Ware. In the next segment, I'll talk about the offense, and then we'll get to your questions and comments in the third segment. I want to tell you, this was a game I think that was defined by missed opportunity for LSU. You may not realize this, but LSU out-hit Dallas Baptist tonight 12-3. Dallas Baptist had 3 hits on the entire night. But LSU left, wait for it, 15 runners on base. Oh, you should have blown the doors off of this team. But there's something that is revealing itself about this team that needs to get fixed. We'll talk about that here in just a minute. I want to talk about Conner Ware. If you're an everydayer, and thank you for that, you've heard me say this. A lot of the conversations I've had with people close to the LSU program, let's say it that way, they love Conner Ware. They actually think that in fall and in the pre-conference, Conner Ware was their best pitcher. Not the best newcomer, not the best bullpen guy. He was their best pitcher. Not to say he's the most talented arm, but he was the best pitcher in fall and in the pre-conference. A 6'4" lefty, throwing middle 90s, got command of 4 pitches, coming out of the JUCO ranks, ramping up now. And the thought is, and I want you to remember this because we're going to revisit this again at some point this year. Over the course of 56, it never goes exactly the way you think it will. Ever. But the thought is that if any of the guys in the rotation struggle, wobble, have issues, Conner Ware is the next man up. That's the thought. And look, I like Cade Anderson a lot. I like Chase Shores a lot. I think Anthony Ianson is the one guy through 2 weeks who has been effective but not really efficient. And you might see as the competition level increases, he may have trouble. Just something to file away. I'm not predicting anything there. I'm just saying Conner Ware is the guy that they think could be the one that, if something happens, would make the move into the rotation. So this was a huge opportunity. It was no doubt that Jay was going to give the ball to Conner Ware in this ball game on the road against a ranked opponent to see how he fared. And Conner Ware was awesome in this ball game. Conner Ware was perfect through 4 innings with 6 strikeouts. So if you're scoring at home, and I'm not great at math, but 4 innings means you got 12 outs. 6 of them were strikeouts. Half of the outs Conner Ware recorded through the first 4 innings were strikeouts. His final line, he ends up going 4 innings. He gives up the 1 run and 1 hit, struck out 6, didn't walk anybody. He faced 13 hitters. So he faced 1 over the minimum. He goes out there for the 5th, gives up the solo homer, the only hit, the only run he gives up, and Jay pulls him. Fine. He hit 60 pitches. That was on the number. Remember, on Monday night, William Schmidt, 60 pitches on the number. First time out, Conner Ware went 3 innings against Southern in the midweek last week, so they let him extend. He went a 4th inning. He got to 60 pitches. Had he been a little more efficient maybe earlier, maybe he goes a little deeper, but he got to 60 pitches. He gave up the homer. Jay was right out the dugout, got him, brought in Zach Cohen. But when you look at it, in the bottom of the first inning, look at what Conner Ware was able to do. Bottom of the first inning, he gets down 3-0 to the leadoff hitter and then comes back with a strikeout. Then he goes, excuse me, I get it. Then he gets ground out strikeout. So he strikes out 2 of the first 3. Bottom 2, In the second inning, a runner gets on via, let's see, goes strikeout, ground out, fly. Oh, the ground out, excuse me, that was it. He goes up and down or strikeout, ground out, fly. But the ground out was the ball that Dickinson ranged behind the bag at second and made the diving stop and throw. Beautiful defensive play by Dickinson. Bottom of the third, again, up and down in order, no stress whatsoever. He goes ground out, fly out, strikeout. And then he goes out there in the fourth inning and goes strikeout, fly out, strikeout. I mean, he was absolutely cruising. Gives off the leadoff homer to start the fifth inning, and his day is over. But you can remember the last pitch he threw, or you can remember the fact that Conner Ware went through 4 innings and was perfect. Faced the minimum, struck out 6. That's the kind of outing Jay Johnson no doubt wanted to see from Conner Ware. And listen, if it's not February 26th, Conner Ware ain't coming out of the game right there. He's at 60 pitches. He's pitching the 5th and he's pitching the 6th. Like, you're letting him extend there. But it's early in the season. There's no reason or need to tax his arm. Conner Ware was awesome in this ball game, and it's further validation that if, in fact, you get to a point where anybody in that weekend rotation struggles, that's the next guy up. And I'll remind you this. Last year in the opening weekend, your Friday night guy was Thatcher Hurd. Hurd was coming off the big Omaha, the big College World Series in Omaha. He was going to be your Friday night guy. Never quite found it at the start of the season. And what happened? It ended up being Holman on Friday. And by the end of the season, it ended up being Gage Jump, who was your guy. So the point is, 56 games are an evolution. And we're going to see a lot change. But Conner Ware is going to play a massive role. Mark it down, book it, write it. Conner Ware is going to play a massive role on this team. Disappointing that Cooper Williams came in, couldn't find the strike zone. But we saw, as we mentioned, Casey Evans at the end of the game, who was awesome in the 8th and the 9th. And then, of course, we got to see Zach Cohen come in and throw a couple of innings. And, yes, it was disappointing that Cohen gave up the 2-run homer. So that allowed Dallas Baptist to get back in and with the 3 spot in the with the 3 spot in the 5th. For Cohen, though, he gave you 3 innings. Remember, Cohen was the guy that was the Friday guy at Wofford last year. He gave up the 2-run homer, but in 3 innings pitched, he struck out 5 and he walked 1. He only gave up 2 hits. But Zach Cohen was very good as well. He just gave up a big bomb. Other than that, again, not great. But other than that, gave you 3 innings, very solid, struck out 5 over the 3 innings. Continues to be a guy that's going to be able to give you length in the middle of the game. You're starting to see some of those roles develop. LSU wins it 7-3. Okay, let me step aside quickly. I want to come back, hit some of the offensive highlights, and I'm going to get to your questions and comments, so please drop them in. Over 200 people watching on the live stream. Thank you so much for that. Please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you're notified whenever we go live. Let me knock out a quick break. When we come back, I'll talk about the offense, and we're getting to all of you. So drop your questions and comments. You're coming up here shortly. Locked on LSU, your team every day. Attention, Locked on LSU fans. The future of college sports is here, and it's transparent. Before the Roy app, NIL negotiations often happened under the table. Fans didn't have a clear way to directly support the athletes they love. But now with Roy, you get to be a part of the change and support LSU athletes in the most transparent way possible. Roy, the NIL app, allows you to choose the player you want to support, decide how much to contribute, receive exclusive content from the athletes that you back. And the best part, if your player transfers, you get your money back. It's a risk-free way to show your support. The Roy app is giving fans control. No more uncertainty. Now you can provide transparent, impactful support and help shape the team in the future of college sports with your contributions. So download the Roy app from the App Store and start backing LSU athletes the way they deserve, with transparency, trust, and the real impact. This is the future of college sports. Join it now by downloading Roy and supporting your favorite players. Okay, let me talk about LSU's offensive day, and then we'll get to you. We talked about the pitchers already. How do you start anywhere other than the top of the lineup? Derek Curiel, my goodness, the freshman. Not only was he awesome offensively, how about defensively? In the bottom of the seventh, the two-out sliding catch that Curiel made coming toward home with runner in scoring position. Curiel very clearly belongs in major college baseball. He was 2 of 3, scored 3 runs. He walked twice, and he was hit by a pitch. So Curiel was on base 5 times in this ball game. Jared Jones, just so much fun to watch because his patience is so impressive. Teams are very clearly not giving him much to hit, but he's patiently waiting and taking his walks. He walked twice more in this ball game. And when they pitch to him, he makes you pay. He had a beautiful knock in the first to left center. He had another single up the middle, which I guess was he beat the shift. It kind of went, yeah, I guess up the middle. Second hit of the game, gets on base again 4 times in this ball game, and so impressive to see. And then in the 3-hole, we saw Larson, Fry, and Josh Pearson all bat third. As Larson got the start, went 0 for 2 with a strikeout. They brought in Fry for a lefty-righty pinch hit matchup, and Fry came up with a big RBI double. Then later we saw Josh Pearson. He went 0 for 2. Both ABs, he tried to bunt, and both ABs, it did not go well. You know my feeling on bunting. We don't need to rehash that. But if you're putting Josh Pearson in there, my point is, how many times in his life are you asking Josh Pearson to bunt? Don't ask a guy to do something he's not comfortable doing. So it cost you, which was a big theme, unfortunately, in this ball game. And I'll tell you this. LSU put up 7 runs, but they had 12 hits. They drew 9 walks and had a runner hit by pitch. So 9 walks, a runner hit by pitch. They gave you 10 base runners. And you had 12 hits. 12 hits. And you scored 7 runs. This should have been a whitewashing, but you left 15 on base. And I'm going to tell you my biggest issue right now. It's execution offensively. And I think it's just carelessness. It's not that they can't. I just think that this is a symptom of playing Purdue, Fort Wayne, and Southern. You're not locked in. Let me give you several examples. In the first inning, Curiel gets a double. Jones gets the walks. Jones gets an RBI double. So you got a runner in scoring position. Runner at second, nobody out. Larson strikes out. Dickinson grounds out. Milam grounds out. You got a runner on second with nobody out. Not only did you not score, you didn't advance him. Second inning. Hernandez, by the way, mashed one to the wall. Beautiful play defensively. But Brown doubles. So you got a runner on second with 1 out. Ground ball to the pitcher. Brown breaks for third. Anyone that has ever played baseball, little league on up, if the ball's behind you, you go. If the ball's in front of you, you hold. Ground ball to the pitcher. There's no way Jake Brown should have been breaking toward third. They peg him at third. You run out of an inning. In the top of the 4th, you ran yourself out of an inning as well. In the 5th inning, Curiel, beautiful AB, gets a leadoff walk. Great AB. Jones gets a single. So you got first and third now. They try to do the double steal, and Jones gets caught stealing. Fry pinch hits next, gets the double to score Curiel. But this inning could have been so much bigger because then Dickinson hits the home run. And it's a 2-run homer instead of a 3-run homer. So you got this beautiful 2-out rally. You put a 4 spot on the board, but then here comes Stanfield, who strikes out with the bases loaded. You blew so many scoring opportunities. Now, in the 5th, in the bottom of the 5th, when they went and put up their 3 spot, LSU did a brilliant job right back in the 6th by getting 2 runs back, and that inning started with Derek Curiel with a leadoff double. Go figure, Derek Curiel was awesome in this ball game. Then Jones walked. Pearson pinch hit, and ended up bunting for a single. Dickinson reached on an E6 to score a run, so it goes 6-3. But here you go. Bases loaded, nobody out. Bases loaded, nobody out. Stephen Milam at the plate. What do you have to do? Bases loaded, nobody out. You've got to get the ball to the outfield. Whatever you do, elevate the baseball, get it to the outfield, get that run home. He fouls out. Hernandez hits a sac fly, which, by the way, great play by the center fielder coming toward the ball. I thought that was for sure getting down. Beautiful defensive play, but it gets the run home on a sac fly. But then here comes Mick Paul. Here comes Mick Paul. Pinch hit. What do? They bunt. And he's out. In the 7th, they tried the squeeze play with Pearson. He popped up the bunt. Winds up being a double play. In the 8th, Stanfield strikes out with the bases loaded. My point is, listen, you went on the road. You beat a ranked opponent. You were really convincing. But this should have been a whitewashing. Running yourself out of innings, not playing sound baseball, like nobody out, bases loaded, you have got to get the ball to the outfield. That is unacceptable for that to happen. For anybody, let alone a guy who's arguably your best player in Stephen Milam. There was Jake Brown breaking for third on a ground ball to the left side of the infield is unacceptable. Those are the types of plays that this team has got to eliminate. And it's not that the thing is, all of this is fixable. All of it is fixable. Jake Brown breaking on that play is fixable. Stephen Milam hitting a pop foul with the bases loaded is fixable. Jared Jones on the caught stealing in the 5th is fixable. Running yourself out of the inning in the 4th is fixable. Like, all those things are fixable. And I'm okay with being aggressive. Look, Jay likes his team. They're athletic. They're fast. You want to be aggressive. I'm fine. Be aggressive. But you got to execute. If you're going to put action on the bases, you got to execute what your coaches are calling. If you can't execute, then you can't call that. And that's ultimately where they got to be. So all things considered, I'll say it again for those who have just joined us. I don't want you to have just joined the show thinking, man, they just beat a ranked team and you're complaining. No. Conner Ware was magnificent. Kason Evans nails entering in the 8th with 2 on and slamming the door. Derek Curiel was great tonight. LSU offensively, 12 hits. They drew 9 walks. LSU was so good in so many ways. But the things we're talking about are ways that you have plenty of room to improve to get even better. And when they do, this team is going to be hell to deal with because they are as talent everywhere, all over the field. Really fun game to watch LSU win in the manner in which they did. Okay, I'm going to shut up. It's your turn. Our final break of the show. Come back. It's all you next. Get your questions and comments in. It's Locked on LSU, your team every day. Life moves fast, especially when you have a family. One day you're watching your kids take their first steps, and before you know it, they're off to college. That's why securing their future is so important. Fabric by Gerber Life makes it simple to get term life insurance that fits your family's needs. With Fabric, you can apply for term life insurance online right from your couch. You could be covered in under 10 minutes. And in many cases, no health exam is required. It gives you peace of mind. As a parent, of course, you want to make sure your family is financially protected no matter what happens. And Fabric will give you that peace of mind. And it's affordable. You can get $1 million in coverage for less than $1 a day. So protecting your loved ones doesn't have to break the bank. Join the thousands of parents who trust Fabric to help protect their families. Apply today in just minutes at meetfabric.com/lockedoncollege. That's meetfabric.com/lockedoncollege. Policies issued by Western Southern Life Assurance Company, not available in certain states. Prices subject to underwriting and health questions. Okay, it's your turn. Thanks so much for being here with us. If you're live on YouTube, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video. Drop your comments in. It's all you right now. I know we're going to go a little longer than we normally do, but I'm okay with that. Tigers win 7-3. They beat number 17 Dallas Baptist. I'm fired up to be here, and I thank you for being here as well. Hey, Noah LeJeune, good evening. Caleb Brignac, what's going on? Got to stop leaving the bases loaded. Couldn't agree more. GameCube Gamer. All the people saying you got to take Curiel and lower him in the lineup are crazy. He hasn't done nothing to lose the spot. He just gets on base. Yeah, look, I think at the beginning of the season, it made a lot of sense taking a guy like Stanfield and putting him at the top of the lineup. Veteran SEC hitter. You had Curiel in the 2-hole. Going to see more fastballs in the 2-hole. I like it. Plus, it also allowed you to take Milam and Braswell and put him at the bottom of the order. I like, in theory, that, because now there's nowhere to exhale in the lineup if you've got Milam and Braswell sitting there in like the 8-9 hole like they were on the opening weekend. But Stanfield has struggled, and certainly struggled tonight. Struck out twice with the bases loaded. 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts with the bases loaded. And Curiel got on base 5 times. What you want from your leadoff hitter is to get on base. Like, that is the job of a leadoff hitter. Get on base so that your run producers behind you come up with runners on base. If Curiel is going to get on base 5 times in 6 plate appearances, yeah, leave him there. I got no problem with that whatsoever. Noah said Dickinson should protect Jones until further notice. Kid doesn't take bad ABs. Not only does he not take bad ABs, he has power to all fields. The home run tonight was a line drive just inside the foul pole down the left field line, and he can spray the ball to all fields. I agree with you. I would like to see Jones bat third and Dickinson bat fourth, but it may be something where we see Jones stay in the 2-hole and perhaps you move Dickinson up to 3. But a lot of this is going to be an evolution as Jay continues to figure it out. Like, tonight was very clear what he did. Dallas Baptist started a righty, so they went Curiel 1 as a lefty, Jones 2 as a righty, and then they went to Larson 3 as a lefty, Dickinson 4 as a righty. So they were flipping lefty, righty against the right-handed starter. So it was just obvious that's what Jay was doing tonight. That's going to change based on who the opponent is pitching. Caleb Landry, hello. Wedding Musso, hashtag never bunt. I love it. Thank you so much. Let's see. Luke Mitchell, worth the $20. Yeah, for everyone had to pay. I did as well. What's the thing? Flow Sports, whatever it was, I had to pay that. But I did. Michael Boudreau, thanks for watching. Manny, 14 left on base. Not very good. Signature win early in the season. It wasn't 14. It was 15 left on base by LSU tonight, and that is something they absolutely have to clean up. Hey, Brian Penton, thanks for being there. Merrick Mathern, never bunt. You know you're a Scone fan if you're coming into this live chat, chanting never bunt. I think so many times when we talk about bunting, you always assume the positive result. You assume on a squeeze play you're going to score the run. You assume on a sacrifice you're going to advance the runner. What happens when you pop up the squeeze play and it's a double play? Swing away. Hey, Travis, incredible team. Could be on the way. Could be otherworldly if we could. Yes. They have all the talent they need. I thought, look, the play Dickinson made at second base in the hole in the second inning was awesome. Actually, the final out of the game, it was a comebacker to Evans, went off his glove, kind of went to no man's land. Dickinson did a great job scooping it, throwing him out. Curiel made a beautiful play coming in, sliding in toward home plate. If Jake Brown's your right, you got 3 center fielders in the outfield. You got Curiel, Stanfield, Brown. That's 3 center fielders in the outfield. That's as good an outfield as LSU's had since they had Laird, Stevenson, and Fraley. I mean, defensively anyway. I mean, it's as good a defensive center outfield as I've seen at LSU. You've had great players. Like, I mean, Dylan Cruz is an amazing player. I think he's the best position player in the history of the program. But 3 of them, I don't think LSU's had 3 like this defensively since that team with Stevenson, Laird, and Fraley in the outfield. Bunt attempt played out horribly. Never a bad thing to try and learn about your team early in the season. Tend to agree with that. John, why is Chief not coaching first base? All the talk from Jay that Chief is the best at what he does. Now they have Simpson there. So the thing that Jay talks about that Chief is great at is defensive alignment. That's the thing that he talks about. Jay has said that, and Chief is Mark Wanaka, who he said is great at looking at tendencies from opponents' offense and aligning the defense. That's what Jay was referring to, and he said he's the best that he was there. But it's worth asking the question of Jay next time we have the opportunity. I don't mind asking him at all, why they've made that decision there. Hey, Dustin A. Bear, 1792 single barrel. There it is, man. Getting deep into the cup. Edward Shields, good evening. Noah, good evening. Manny, Braswell struggling. When do you think we see John Pearson at third? That's a really good question. And we did see John Pearson tonight with a pinch hit, and he had an RBI-based knock. So if you keep getting opportunities and you keep converting in those opportunities, you're going to get more of an opportunity. And I think Tommy White playing third base, as good as he was defensively a season ago, probably taught us all, don't judge a book by its cover. John Pearson don't look very much like a good defensive third, like he'd be a good defensive third baseman, but let me see it. I'll tell you this, Braswell has been good defensively at third. The bat hasn't come along, but you're 9 games into the season. Right now, you're 8-1. So I don't know that I'm necessarily trying to throw dirt on a guy that was a 300 hitter in conference play a year ago because of some early season struggles. But I think John Pearson's proving that he's deserving of more opportunities at this point. Hey, Stephen Lowe, Curiel especially sure is. Thank you, Stanley Reed. Brody Brecht. Brody Brecht was the pitcher from Iowa who I was searching for that locked LSU up a couple of years ago in Round Rock. Michael, squeeze bunt was an awesome call. Too bad it didn't work out. One of the reasons it wasn't a blowout game. You see, here's the thing, though, Michael. You can say it's an awesome call. It's an awesome call if it works. But it didn't work. And a lot of the reason it didn't work is because of the personnel in that spot. When do we ever see Josh Pearson laying down suicide squeeze bunts? That's the problem I have. If there's someone at the plate who can handle the bat like that and is accustomed to putting down bunts in that spot, okay. I've told you before, I'm okay bunting for a hit or to score a run. But in that situation, when Pearson is in pinch hitting in the 3-hole, because Pearson replaced Fry, who replaced Larson. In that moment, I have more confidence in, and there's one out, remember, and a runner on third. I have more confidence in Josh Pearson, who's had so many clutch ABs, getting the ball to the outfield, hitting the ball on the ground to the right side or elevating it to the right field than I do putting down a suicide squeeze bunt. Can we agree on that? That's the problem I have. Travis Whitney, good evening. Stephen Lowe, too many runners left on base. Healed by spirit. Keep bringing him at. Move to Albuquerque, number one source for the Tigers, 1980 alum. Thank you so much for being there. We appreciate it. A lot of comments here about Stanfield having to be better tonight. Was not a great night, no doubt. Travis, what do you think about an outfield with Larson, Brown, and Curiel? I think we're going to see it, and we've seen it once already, and I think we'll see that again. And we saw it on, I believe it was game, well, look at my notes. I can't remember if it was game 2. Here it was. So it was game 2 of the game they lost to Omaha. They went left to right, Larson, Curiel, Brown. And I think that's an outfield you could see because that's 3 left-handed hitters. I think that's an outfield you could see against a right-handed pitcher. If Jay wants to stack the lineup with lefties, I think you could see that outfield and Stanfield goes to the bench. I think that's something you could see. Dickinson was great start to finish. He's been great since, literally his first at-bat of the season. He's been awesome. It does appear the pitching staff is set up to succeed in the postseason compared to last year, where it was a half punch, then a prayer. That's true. A year ago, you didn't have a third starter. By the end of the year, you knew you had Holman and Jump, and Griffin Herring was amazing for you out of the bullpen. This is a team where, for now anyway, you have 4 starters I think you're confident in, and your 3 weekend guys in Conner Ware. I think any of those guys could be, and I wouldn't put it past someone like William Schmidt continuing to evolve. And remember, Zach Cohen, who we saw pitch 3 innings of relief in this ball game, is a guy who was a starter at Wofford, was a Friday night guy. So you've got plenty of starters and plenty of guys that can extend. Mick Paul experiment is over now. Yeah, I don't think so. I think Jay's going to continue to try to get these guys opportunities. Baseball is a game of failure. The old adage is you fail 70% of the time, you're in the Hall of Fame. So if you go out there and you fail, it doesn't mean the next time out you won't succeed. So I'm not going to say it's over for anybody at this point. I mean, Cade Beloso in the championship year didn't actually emerge until was it the second or third SEC weekend. Whenever he, like every time they gave him a pinch hit, he kept getting hits. It's like, okay, you have to have this guy in the lineup. Corey, great job, man. Thank you, Corey. Appreciate it. We're going long here. Let me see if I can get a few more. They do kind of make sure we try to stay on time and on format Locked On. I'm going long, so I don't want to go any much longer. James, continued problem of LSU not being able to score with the bases loaded is becoming concerning. That cost them the Omaha game. It did. Michael Boudreaux, you're welcome. Thank you for being here with us. Travel Man, thank you. Appreciate that. Farmer Family, nice show. Thank you so much. Wizard Scone, why do you give more attention to certain recruits depending on their high school? Okay, that's a football question. Not talking about that. And I have talked plenty about Bryson Martinez, by the way, as well. Manny, excellent reporting. Thank you so much. GameCube Gamer said, I love Stephen Milam. He's not your best player. That's certainly arguable. I mean, he's your shortstop. And a year ago, he was a 300 hitter and he was a clutch hitter for you as well. Dickinson is certainly in the conversation, although the sample size is small. Curiel's a freshman who looks awesome, but I could make a very strong case for Stephen Milam being your best player. I don't think that's anyway out of the realm of possibility for the way he handles the bat, the ability to hit for average power. And if you're just looking at the fact that he's small, I'll remind you, like, Jose Altuve is like 5'5", and he's an amazing player. So big packages and or big talent, come in small sizes, all shapes and sizes. I mean, I could make a very strong argument for Stephen Milam as the best player on this team. May not end that way, but you could make the argument for sure. Okay. This is another one as well. Manny said, I think Hernandez took a big step in being the starting catcher. Couldn't agree more. And listen, Hernandez tonight didn't have a lot to show for it offensively. He ended up 0 for 2 with 2 walks, but he had the sac fly. But Hernandez also hit 2 missiles. The sac fly was a screaming liner that was sinking. The center fielder made a great catch coming in. And then in the second inning, the first out of the second, he was robbed. I mean, he hit a ball to the wall that the outfielder made a beautiful play going back to the wall. It's when the Dallas Baptist coach was on the TV headset talking to the TV broadcast, almost left the yard. I mean, it was a great defensive play. So Hernandez, and I thought was really good defensively as well tonight. Okay, y'all, let's wrap this thing up. I appreciate you so much for being here with us. Do us a favor, please smash that like button if you would. Subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on podcast, thank you so much. Please subscribe on your favorite podcast app, rate us, leave a review. And remember, we're here every single day. So for all these LSU baseball games throughout the year, as soon as the game goes final, we'll be here. So Friday night when LSU plays Kansas State, we'll be here for a post-game react, and we'll look forward to seeing you then as well. In the meantime, remember, tell a friend that if they love the Tigers, we got you here every single day for Locked On LSU, your team every day.